Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Real and Raw with Ree. We are on episode 86. So before I get into the episode and all of that good stuff, let me just go ahead and say some parts of this episode may not be kid friendly. I repeat, some parts of this episode may not be kid friendly, so you can pause it, save it for later, put your headphones in, do whatever you need to do. But again, some parts of this episode may not be kid friendly. Now that is out of the way, go grab a glass of your favorite drink and let's get on into it. So y'all know how I like to start off my episodes. I like to start off with a mental health check. Mentally, I would say that I'm at a 10. I'm doing really well. Yeah, this week has been a good week. Of course, I was off work Monday due to the snow and the weather. The past few weeks have been wonderful for me because I've been at home. At least the Mondays I've been at home because of the snow. But today, I almost bust my Big Debbie cakes outside. Like, going outside to go to work. Honey, when I got to the end of that driveway, my foot slid. I almost hit the ground. Like, I'm over the ice. Like, I love the snow. Like, I really do. I love the snow. It's just that mother effing ice I cannot do. Like, me and the ice don't mix. And if I would have hit the ground, I would just walk right back inside because no. And then mind you, I don't even need to be telling my business, but I was going to be a little late anyway. So yeah, me just slipping on the ice would have F my day up. But after I slid, my foot slid and I didn't fall, I laughed it off or whatever. But yeah, I didn't hit the ground, so that was a plus. But like I said, I'm at a 10. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you all have an amazing week. Well, you all have had an amazing week. And I hope that you guys have a safe weekend. And go Duke, because they are playing Carolina tomorrow. And yeah, I'm a Duke fan over here. I hope they whoop they behinds, okay? And if you are a Carolina fan, it's okay. You know, no love lost. It's never too late to come over to the good side. Like, it's never too late. But yes, we are going to go ahead and get into the episode. So somebody sent me a clip recently and she was talking on a podcast and she was saying that she had to have 2 brain surgeries in the same year, that he stayed with her in the hospital, nursed her back to health, even wiped her butt when she needed him to. Helped her out, nursed her back to health or whatever. So she was like that recently he hasn't been working or whatever. And they have not been on any dates recently. So she was like, her question was, how long does she wait until she starts to feel appreciated? And everybody up there was confused now. Everybody was confused. Even I was just like, huh? And that's just crazy to me that is even a question, that you are considering leaving this man. The fact that you do not feel appreciated is just crazy to me, because this man, like somebody said on the panel, he showed you early on that he is willing to take care of you, that he is willing to make sure that you're good. And it's just crazy to me that women will have a type of man like that will show you early on, like, if something happened to you, like, I'm with you thick or thin, like, I'm here. And he showed you this at a young age, because she said that she was 23. Yeah, she was 23. So I'm assuming she was probably 22. But he showed you, like, early on, like, I got you. Like, I'm just confused why you don't feel appreciated. And then, like somebody in the comments said, have you taken him out on a date to show him that you appreciate him for everything that he has done? It's like, this is kind of the same example of what I talked about on the podcast before, when I said When a woman is the breadwinner, when a man is the breadwinner, he does not throw that in your face. He's not like, oh, I make more than you. He's not on that type of time. Like, he's not sitting here comparing checks and pay stubs and shit. But when it comes to a woman, when her paychecks get a little higher than yours, her salary is a little higher than yours, she starts feeling herself, smelling herself a little bit. And then she starts talking to you crazy. And I feel like when you were down and out, you were okay with that man being there. You were okay with that. But then when he nursed you back to health, now you're good and you in a good headspace. You moving how you used to move. Shit, if not better. Now you feel like, okay, I want better. I want to, I'm not going to say move on in a sense, but you kind of, I just don't understand why you feel unappreciated. I'm just not understanding that. Like, it's not clicking in my head. It's not. Like, take that man on a date. Do some shit for him. Not saying, I don't know what you have done, what you haven't done. But it's just like, do something for... Well, you said that y'all have not went on any dates recently. Cater to that man. I don't understand. And like the lady said on the panel, you're going to wake up one day and see him with his wife and his family. And then you're going to be thinking like, damn, that's the man that got away. Yes, you are. You're going to be bitter and upset. Because it's like, that's a good man right there. As they say, that's a good man, Savannah. That is a good man. Because when I'm old, I would want a man that cleans me up. When I have a little accident, when my bladder gets, uncontrollable, I hope that... That's the word, right? When my bladder gets a little weak, I hope that I have a man by my side that does not judge me for that, does not make me feel less of a woman because of that, because he understands, like, that's life, that shit happens. Like, yeah, you want somebody that's by your side that's going to not make you feel ashamed, not make you feel embarrassed, but it's going to stick with you, ride with you, and continues to uplift you. And the fact that this man showed you early on, like, baby girl, I got you. And you're sitting here like, how long do I wait before I feel appreciated? What? I honestly hope that he's seen that and he left you. To be completely honest, I hope he did. Because how dare you sit there and say that? That is why women deserve a little less today. On this episode, y'all deserve a little less when it comes to that, because not me, but I just don't get it. I don't understand how you can sit there in front of all of those people, get on that damn podcast and ask that question. And you said that he is you said amazing man, emotionally, physically, mentally, that he is an amazing man, and you fix your lips to say, how long do you wait until you feel appreciated? I just don't understand. Some women don't want a good man. Some women don't. When shit is perfect and the man is doing what he needs to do, that bothers y'all. Y'all need some excitement, like some toxicity. That's what y'all need. And then when y'all have that, I just want me a good man. And then when you get one, this is boring, or it's no excitement, I don't get it. I don't. How dare you? Like, I hope he leaves you I hope he left you when he saw that and found a good woman. So I asked my men and my women a question. I only asked a specific woman, but I asked you guys a question as far as like pregnancy goes and all of that. So my question for the men was, how would you feel if a woman told you after the fact that she was pregnant and did not keep your child? You two were not on speaking terms when she found out, nor were you two anything. So that was my question to the men, and I'm going to play their voice notes, give my responses, all this, that, and the third. So my question for the women was, as a woman, do you feel like you are obligated to let the man know that you are pregnant? Although when you found out you were pregnant, you two were not on speaking terms, and you two were never anything. Then go from there as far as making a decision on whether or not you two should keep it. So that was my question to the women. I'm going to play her voice note, and then I'm going to give my response to her opinion and then how I feel about the whole situation.
How would I feel if I found out that a girl did not keep my baby? I would have felt upset with her, felt upset with myself, you know. Um, I think, you know, she has a choice, and, you know, she got to deal with it for 9 months if we was never partnership about it or co-parenting or making decisions like that or talking about it, you know. And that's a lot on her for her to make that big decision, whether she keep the baby or not, you know. Or on the male's perspective, you know, what, you know, a woman would look at it with what type of man he is, you know, even though, you know, is he's going to benefit for the baby being here, you know, the woman thinks of those questions of that nature, you know. But yeah, both, I would have been upset, you know, and, you know, because you never know what the baby could have turned out to be in this world, you know, carrying the baby for that many years, and then you know, me not being there, you know, that would be, you know, kind of lack of responsibility or anything like that. So I would take that in consideration, you know, that I would just be upset with myself and, you know, the person I was messing with, you know.
So that would depend on if I've known that person for a long time or not. If it's somebody that I've known for a long time and we just wound up like messing around, then I would be a little off put because I would think that we would have a little bit more like respect for each other, whether or not we were on speaking terms or not. But shorter time, I still would expect it, but not as much because of that. But I would still like to at least have known um, that I had a potential child coming into this world. Um, the fact that we are not on speaking terms at the moment kind of is irrelevant to me because I think as people um, I feel like we are owed some level of courtesy and respect to one another um, in that regard. So yeah.
I've thought about this over and over and over again, and I feel like if if the girl didn't keep my baby and we weren't on speaking terms or anything like that, it might be a good thing that she didn't have my baby because what's that not to say that she's going to neglect my kid, my son, my daughter, just like she neglected not telling me when she had a chance to. So, like, if you're going to leave out important details like that, then maybe it's best that you don't have my child, because I feel like that's really important information. That's I feel like that's information you shouldn't um, keep from anybody, especially the father of your who would have been the father of your child. I just think that's messed up, and I wouldn't want to have a baby mother that thinks it's okay to keep those type of things from me. If she can keep that away from me, what else will she do? And that's just I couldn't live with that. So that's how I feel.
So, like I said, there's like two answers to that question, depending on what happened between the two individuals. Like if they had a conversation before they messed around and it was kind of like, he was like, I don't want kids, and she was like, I'm not really ready for kids right now, then one, he's already kind of absolved himself from any responsibility because he said he doesn't want kids. Now, if she's also in agreement with that and that's not where she is in her life currently, then I don't see an issue with that because the choice on either end was made and it was understood from the beginning. The second part to my answer is, now, if there was no conversation about anything, y'all just laid down, did what it do, and now you're pregnant, then to me, out of respect for that man, even if you're not in a relationship, respect him enough to hold a conversation and say, hey, we did this deed. I'm now pregnant with your child. Then y'all sit down and y'all have a conversation on what, your thoughts, your feelings, concerns, etc. And then you go from there. Because if you just go off and you just get an abortion and you're taking that man's choice away to be a dad. I won't say to be a father, because fathers make babies, dads takes care of them. They are not the same thing, in my opinion. So if you just do it off the cuff, then you're taking away that man's choice to be in that child's life if he wanted to be a dad and have a child. But also, there's also the other piece of that, which is it is her body and it is her choice. But the respectful thing to do would be to hold a conversation with that man and see what your next steps are from there before you do anything hasty. And now you done sent this man down some road he didn't need to go down because of a decision that was made without considering his thoughts for something that you both created, whether you were in a relationship
So
or
I'm
not.
just interrupting you guys real quick to make sure that you have followed my podcast, that you are also subscribing on my YouTube. Make sure that you get in the comments and tell me what you think about the episode so far. Hit the like button and share it with your family and friends. Let's go ahead and get back into it.
Me and a girl was messing around and we got into a relationship and, we broke up eventually, but we kept having sex though. One day she was drinking and told me she had my baby aborted. At first I thought she was, just drunk, rambling on. And then the next day I asked her, do you remember what you told me last night? She said, yeah, I never had the courage to tell you the truth. And she knew we wouldn't be a couple. I can't lie. I was mad. I'm talking pissed off because she could have talked to me. We could have, worked through the whole situation together. Yes, it was an ideal situation for us. We probably would have never been a couple. But I just felt like she could have talked to me and let me know the situation because we was more than just smashing partners. But eventually, I grown past it. We're still cordial to this day. And, I just wish, she could have told me and allowed me to be there, even though that the decision is hers. And it's always. But just give me a heads up.
To answer your question, I do believe in transparency, regardless of the situation. I always feel that it is a woman's choice at the end of the day, what she decides to do in this type of situation, when dealing with an unborn child. I do feel like it is also a man's right to know what the situation is. Ultimately, it is the woman's decision to make. But this could be a man's first child. I really don't think it really matters whether it's his first, second, or third. But I think that giving him the option to, speak on the situation before making that decision is very important. I think it's just the right thing to do. It's the mature thing to do. Just, give the man, his opening, to just speak his piece about the situation. It could change your mind. Um, it could be for the best if you know, changed your mind, because you never know if this man could be, a great parent. Um, at the end of the day, whether, you two are together or not. But like I always say, ultimately it's a woman's choice. And do I feel that she's wrong for not allowing him to, be a part of, the decision in some way? Uh, yes, I do. If, she just go ahead and, just make that step, without speaking with him at all about, the situation. As long as he's going to be an active parent in the situation, whether you together or not. So, yeah, just give the man the opportunity to speak, and just respect his opinion, but ultimately it's, your choice. So, and just to add, I would personally feel some type of way about the situation if it was, my child, and she didn't speak to me about, you know, um, taking that step with the child that, that I also helped created. So I would definitely feel some type of way about that. So I would want her to at least allow me to, you know, just talk about the situation. And I think that always, just gives a better like a better, relationship between the two. I think it kind of does draw, you know, wedges in between the two when, a person just decides to make a decision like that on their own. But yeah, definitely just speak to him and, allow him to be a part of it.
My answer to this is me. I wouldn't feel no type of way, and I would be more on the sides of it is what it is, and okay, because of the fact that me and this particular woman, we didn't have no type of relationship. We was just messing around at this point in time, and then at the same time, we weren't on speaking terms. So there had to be something that happened to the extent to where we wasn't even on speaking terms or something like that in that notion. But at the same time, me being who I am, I probably would have felt a little some type of way just because we are two grown adults, and I felt like she could at least tried to reach out, to at least give me the respect, to at least let me know that she was pregnant or she is pregnant, and then from there we just have a conversation, and you could go on and tell me about what your choices are, what you plan to do in this situation, because even though it is two persons kid at the same time, at the end of the day, ultimately she has to make the final decision whether she wants to keep it or not, because she's the one who actually has to go through the process of her body changing and another physical human actually growing inside of her. So in that sense, to this question, like I said, I would feel some type of way, but at the same time, I wouldn't, just because of those two reasons. Yeah.
So I agree with, like, we're speaking on the men right now. So I do agree with y'all. I do like that a lot of you said that it is the woman's decision at the end of the day because she has to go through those things. Something that did stand out to me. It's not funny, but it's when one of you said, if she could do that to you, what else would she do? So it's not funny, but it stood out to me because I agree with that. Like, in certain situations, if when people do things, it just has you like, damn, if you could do that, then what else will you do? You know what I'm saying? So I agree with that. And then the person who was like, you know, him and the lady's situation, I do feel like if you two were still on speaking terms and y'all still messing around or whatever, or even if y'all were not messing around, I'm trying to make sure I got it together, but even if y'all were not messing around, but y'all were like in contact in the same areas or whatever, I do feel like out of respect for you, like she should have told you that, because y'all are in the same spaces or whatever. So it's really no reason, even if y'all were not on speaking terms, as to why she shouldn't have told you, and then y'all went from there. So that situation was effed up. Like, I 100% feel like that situation was effed up. I will give my opinion after I play the woman's voice note, and then we're gonna go from there.
So I do think that women should tell the man that they're pregnant whenever they find out, just so that the man knows. Now, whether or not she decides to either keep or terminate the pregnancy, I think should be up to her. Of course, the man is, should have a say so, but also women do die in childbirth every day. So, and then it's going to be the woman that's going to have to deal with the mental and physical and emotional changes that she's going to have during the pregnancy and after the pregnancy. So I think that choice should be made up to the woman. Personally, if it was me and I was not on speaking terms with the man, it depends on why we're not on speaking terms. But if I was not on speaking terms with the man, I would definitely still text, whether it goes through or not. I would still send that text and say, hey, I know we're not on speaking terms right now for whatever reason, but I am pregnant and I do plan on terminating the pregnancy. If you do want to have a conversation about it, we can have the conversation, and, just go from there. But my main reasoning to reach out is just to let him know that I am pregnant. And then again, like I said before, it just depends on why we aren't on, speaking terms. It just depends on how that conversation will go. So yeah.
Okay, so responding to the woman's point of view, again, I like that everybody said that it is the woman's decision at the end of the day, because she has to deal with the changes of her body, hormones, all of that, mood swings, all of that. I was pregnant before. I know exactly how it is. I know how it goes. If you hear talking in the background, that is my niece. But yes, I know 100% how it goes, because like I said, I was pregnant before, and your body does change. Attitude changes completely. So yeah, and then dealing with like postpartum, but we'll get into that, in a few. But I also like the fact that you said that you feel like the woman should let the dude know, like, whether y'all are on speaking terms or not, it's nothing to just shoot a text. Like, at least you can say that you did it. So I do agree with that. Like, you attempted to reach out. But I do kind of feel like you should probably, like, if you do send a text, I feel like it should kind of be like, we need to talk. Don't just like say that in a text, like, hey, if you're free, I need to talk to you. It's really important. Go from there. But yeah, I agree with all of y'all. Now, here's my point of view. While I agree with y'all, this is my point of view. I feel like, yes, reach out. And then I think somebody said this. They said that the woman has to think about, if the dude is going to be there and all this and that, what type of dad is he going to be, and all of that. So, and then like y'all said, if y'all have had that conversation as far as like, if we messed around, this happens, what are we going to do? I feel like those conversations are very, very, very important to have. But at the same time, I feel like people can kind of tell you anything like, oh, we going to... One thing that you should not settle with in that conversation is, we'll figure it out when we get there. Never settle with that shit. Like, no, it's too late to try to... It's not too late to try to figure it out, but the situation is here now. Like, it is a full head now. So I feel like y'all should definitely really dive deep into that conversation. Like, that's one of them deep conversations that should not be overlooked. Skip past nothing. Like, if y'all out here doing what y'all do, that conversation needs to be had completely. So I feel like if you have that conversation, it needs to be like, okay, if this happens, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, people can say anything during that time. But when the situation, I don't know what I was about to say. When the situation actually happens, I feel like people kind of switch up, they kind of change. And it's like, damn, well, that's not what we agreed on. That's not what we said, or you told me you was going to do this, going to do that. And then when it's here, like when the baby is here, it's just a woman. Like, the woman can't just easily walk away. And I know there are some single dads out here, don't get me wrong, but it's more easy for the dad to walk away and leave the mom with all of the responsibilities. Not taking nothing away from the dad, so don't come in my comments on that. That's not what I'm saying. But we all know that it's easy for the dad to just walk away and leave the mom with the kids, the responsibilities, all this, that, and the third. But I agree with y'all. For the most part, I do agree with y'all. I do feel like that is a conversation that needs to be had. And then, like the woman said, I hate to keep saying the woman, although I know your name. Woman's perspective. I also agree with you when you said it depends on why you two were not on speaking terms, because that matters also. That, and then I do say that too, but that is important. Like, how do you think that conversation is going to go? And another question that I should have asked y'all is, would you prefer her have not to told you that at all? Like, seeing that it's no going back and it's nothing that you can do, it's just going to probably piss you off. Would you have I don't know what I was about to say. Would you have preferred her to take that to the grave with her? So y'all can answer that in the comments. Like, fellas, instead of the woman coming to you and telling you like, hey, a few years ago I was pregnant, I didn't keep the baby, would you have preferred her to take that to the grave with her? And ladies, do you feel like that's just something that you should take to the grave with you? Or do you feel like that's something that the man needs to know, like whether it's years down the line or not? Me personally, I always have trouble with that word. Me personally, I feel like I probably would not tell the dude. I feel like, like the dude said it was a drunk night and she told him that. I feel like that's probably the only time that I would tell a dude that, like, on some drunk shit. But outside of that, I'm not going to tell the dude that, because I just feel like you never know how that man is going to react. And God forbid he knows that you have other kids now or whatever. I feel like, I don't know, because you can't really sit here and be like, oh yeah, it's no right to be angry, blah, blah, blah. We were never nothing. And we said that, now if y'all had a conversation, okay. But like I said, people switch up when that scenario actually is now a thing. Like, people switch up. So let's just say y'all had that conversation and he was like, both of y'all agreed, like, okay, if that does happen, we're going to take care of that, because neither, we just having fun right now. Like, it's not that. And then Yeah, y'all had that conversation, and so let's just say you told him that yeah, I didn't keep the baby, you know, when I found out I was pregnant. I know that we said you know, we weren't going to keep the baby anyway. I just, you know, we weren't on speaking terms, whatever, and now I'm seeing you. I feel like you have a right to know. You don't know how that man's going to react. That man might be like, oh, no, I would have kept the baby. We would have worked something out. Why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Now he pissed at you. And, yeah, I don't know. That's just something that I'll have to take to the grave with me. Like, if I did that, I would have to take it to the grave with me. I would never tell that man. Like, y'all might say that I'm wrong, which is fine. I do want y'all opinions and all of that. Leave them in the comments. But I'm just not trying to deal with unnecessary drama over something that he didn't know happened anyway. And he only knows now because I'm telling him. But so I just wouldn't want to deal with that. So I would probably take that to my grave, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Real and Raw with Ree. I hope that you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you get in the comments and tell me what you thought about it. Answer my questions. Give your feedback. All of that good stuff. I appreciate you guys for tuning in each and every week. Share my podcast with your family, your friends, your side piece, your boo, whoever. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow it if you are listening on another platform. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.